Hello everyone, and welcome to a brand new series on this Debunked Docket channel called the Debunked Docket. This was a very long time in the making, and I'm very excited to start this out. And I hope that you will enjoy this new series as well. I don't know how many of these I will do, but if I get enough likes, I will make one sooner rather than later. Anyway, what is the point of this new show? Well, it is to debunk or talk about different stories that the media is portraying as fact. This may include different memes that portray the wrong message and have already been debunked, or we will debunk the best that we can, and sometimes we will simply have to say that we don't know, and that's okay. These episodes are going to have a lot of opinion in them, and if you don't agree, that is okay, and we should be able to talk about that. Along with that, I want you to send me information on different stories that makes you wonder, is that true? Alrighty, so let's get started with our very first story talking about the situation that has been going on across America. And these are all the protests that may also turn into riots. We already talked about this on Tuesday's show. Make sure to go check that out. And, you know, these riots can turn into violence, and they have started to take over Washington, D.C. And these protests have been happening straight outside the White House. And there was a lot of fighting going on between the police and these protesters. And some people were nervous that people would climb over the fence or break down the fence and try to enter the White House, which would be very deadly for the protesters, as the White House has snipers and Secret Service at the ready in case something like this ever happens. So during all this, there was a report that came out that Donald Trump was hiding in the White House bunker because for some reason he was, quote, afraid. Now, Trump has denied this and said that he only went down there for a short period of time just to check it out, but I don't really believe that much. What I believe happened was that the Secret Service was watching what was happening and saying, listen, if a group of protesters come through the gate and into the White House, we may not have time to move the president. So let's move him now to be safe. So that's what I'm speculating that they did. But, oh man, were the memes ridiculous. And people started to do some comparing. You know who else hid in a bunker while there was a fire all around them? That's right, Evil Mustache Man. I can't say his real name because YouTube will get mad. So anyway, in this meme, Evil Mustache Man is telling Trump that he likes to hide in bunkers from anti-fascist groups too. And this is related to Trump labeling Antifa as a terrorist organization, which of course they are, as they have started multiple fires everywhere and they have been rioting and looting. They're the ones mostly who cause all of the violence. Now, I'm really not a fan of this meme because, first of all, in Evil Mustache Man's situation, he did something wrong. And another country, the USSR, was coming after him to kill him. In Trump's situation, these are American citizens that for some reason have decided to blame Trump for everything that has transpired with the whole George Floyd killing, and they're just protesting outside. But the Secret Service is scared that they might break through and then come in and rush them and then start lighting fires everywhere, and then, you know, the White House gets burned. And that's not what they want. And then the president could die, so they're trying to protect the president. And all in all, this whole situation with Donald Trump was a safety situation. And this has happened before, as during 9/11, Dick Cheney and his family were sent to the bunker. But George Bush was away on Air Force One because he was in Florida, but that's another story for another time. So no one called Dick Cheney Evil Mustache Man, but they sent them to the bunker because they knew that there was a threat to the president or the vice president or someone else. So that's why they send people to the bunker, to make sure that everything is safe. And I mean, what do you want Trump to do? Do you want Trump to come out onto the White House steps and be like, okay, people, stop rioting? Like, they won't listen to Donald Trump. So this next story is going to be very hard to debunk or even talk about because there is a lot of opinions and misinformation, and I had to do a lot of research on this story, and we have two sides to the story, and we will cover that. So, last Monday, Trump decided that he was going to make a speech about the killing of George Floyd, and how he was the law and order president. So while the president was making this speech, there were audible sounds of explosions happening in the background. These seemed to be very close, and they were close as they were coming from Lafayette Park, just a few blocks away from the White House. This is where our debate begins, as many news outlets have said that the police were using tear gas to move peaceful protesters out of the way. Even conservative media folks were saying that tear gas was used, so I decided to look into it. The Trump campaign denied that the officers used tear gas, and they weren't the only ones that said that, as the United States Park Police Acting Chief Gregory T. Monahan also spoke out about this incident. The police department statement read that on Monday, June 1st, the USPP worked with the United States Secret Service to have temporary fencing installed inside Lafayette Park. At approximately 6:33 p.m., violent protesters on 8th Street Northwest began throwing projectiles, including bricks, frozen water bottles, and caustic liquids. The protesters were climbing into historic buildings at the north end of Lafayette Park that was destroyed by arson days prior. Intelligence has revealed calls for violence against the police. The officers found caches of glass bottles, baseball bats, and metal poles hiding among the streets. So, to curtail the violence that was underway, the USPP followed established policy, issuing 3 warnings over a loudspeaker to alert demonstrators on 8th Street to evacuate the area. Horse mounted patrol, civil disturbance units, and additional personnel were used to clear the area. As many of the protesters became more combative, continued to throw projectiles and attempting to grab officers' weapons. Officers then employed the use of smoke canisters and pepper balls. USPP officers and other assisting law enforcement partners did not use tear gas or OC scat shells to close the area at Lafayette Park. Subsequently, the fence was installed. So according to the park police, they used pepper balls and smoke canisters, not tear gas. But these two chemicals, if you can call them chemicals, have the same to similar side effects, as both chemical irritants cause, according to Dr. Missouri, sometimes severe irritation to mucous membranes, which includes the eyes, mouth, nasal passages, and lungs, causing people to experience burning sensations on the skin, in the eyes, tearing, coughing, sneezing, difficulty breathing, nausea, vomiting, disorientation. And according to the CDC, they claim that tear gas and riot control agents are terms that can be used interchangeably. On its website, the agency also stated that pepper spray is a riot control agent. So if you are using both tear gas and riot control agents interchangeably, then yes, technically the police did use tear gas by using the pepper balls because they are considered a riot control agent. And whenever you use pepper spray to ward off a would-be offender, then technically you are using tear gas as well. So technically the media is correct, tear gas was used by the police. But the idea that tear gas, real-life tear gas, the chemical, is the same as pepper spray, to me, seems a little ridiculous, as these two things are very different. As according to Aftermath.com, the two biggest differences between tear gas spray and pepper spray are their chemical makeup and delivery method. Pepper spray, sometimes referred to as OC spray, is a combination of natural chemicals, whereas tear gas, also called CS gas, comes from man-made components. One is natural from the chili pepper plant, and the other is created by man. So I really think that the CDC needs to look at this and call pepper spray what it is, not tear gas. To me, it is like comparing an Oreo cookie with a chocolate chip cookie. Yes, they are both different, but they can both be classified under the word cookie. But I mean, if you ask for an Oreo cookie and someone gives you a chocolate chip cookie, you might be like, okay, that's fine, but I wanted an Oreo. No, they're different. They're both different, and I hope that makes sense because I kind of just made that up. So anyway, now I am not saying that the police here are innocent, as there are many videos showing police using their shields to push people out of the way, and this is not right. They are abusing their power to sort of get people off of the street. But also, the media saying that Donald Trump uses tear gas on his own people is misleading at best. So Donald Trump ended his speech by saying that he would pay his respects to a very important place, and then walked off the stage. What was this place? Well, it was St. John's Church, which is also known as the President's Church, as since it was built, multiple presidents have visited the church. Well, the night before all this happened, it was vandalized and set on fire. Luckily, the building is still standing, but there's only a little bit of fire damage that happened. Now, what is interesting about this church is that it is in Lafayette Park, the same one that we were just talking about. So Trump got to this church and he held up a Bible. And this was apparently really bad for the president to do. Because the Bible was upside down? Well, no, people were mostly mad because it was a photo op. Everyone could tell that it was staged by the Trump team. Now, I am not a big fan of photo ops just because you know that a person is doing it just for publicity. And it doesn't seem very sincere. It would have been very different if Trump prayed, read a passage from the Bible, or did something different. However, throughout history, we have seen presidents or political figures do different photo ops. Just like this week, House Democrats took a knee to protest police brutality. Both of these incidents can go under the classification that they are trying to appeal to their representative base. You may think that the photos are right or wrong, but politicians do this all the time. Along with this, it seems that more people were mad about Trump holding up a Bible in front of a church than they were about protesters the night before lighting the church on fire. People should have been able to say, hey, I'm not a fan of Trump doing the whole photo op thing, and I'm also sickened by the fact that these rioters tried to burn down a church. But no, apparently this showed that Trump is everything that God hates, whatever that means. And so after this event happened, the memes were just flying all over social media. And one of them was very interesting, and this came from celebrity Deborah Messing. I don't know what she does. If you know what she does, please write in the comments what she does. As she posted this picture with the tweet saying that Trump holding up the Bible was a white nationalist stunt because Evil Mustache Man, welcome back, did the same exact thing. Well, Deborah Messing, you better look out because Evil Mustache Man also drank water and had a dog, just like you. So you are basically Evil Mustache Man. It wasn't long before this image was debunked as being photoshopped, as it was later shown that Evil Mustache Man never held a book in his hand in the original picture. However, people are still using this meme to say that Donald Trump is Evil Mustache Man and he's just appealing to his, quote, white nationalist base. And it just goes with this whole narrative that no matter what anyone does, people can always portray you as the worst person ever. So I know that this video talked a lot about Donald Trump, but there is a lot of misinformation that has been flying around the Trump administration, and I believe that it needs to be talked about. This is also where I can get your help at. If you see a story and are wondering if it's true, feel free to write me on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. And until next week, like my mom always says, be good, be kind, be loving. Goodbye.